Should I talk about the fact that there are plenty of bottles behind me? And I didn't touch any of them for over 90 days.
1, 2, 3, jump!
Are you questioning your relationship with alcohol? As someone who just went 90 plus days of not drinking, I gotta be honest, I'm a little conflicted. There's no denying that not drinking and quitting alcohol, it's having a moment and for a lot of really, really good reasons. But as someone who detoxed and went through it all, I think there are also a lot of cons that a lot of people are not talking about when it comes to not drinking, but that's why we're here to talk about it. So let's get into it. Okay, so why did this all begin? I can pretty much bucket it into two different categories. One is how my body was reacting, and two, all of the research and everything that I've been learning about alcohol really steered me in that direction. But when we start talking about just my physical body, I just turned 32, and it's not fun waking up feeling like crap.
Well, I'm hungover, I'm jet lagged, I'm dying.
And not only that, I am someone who struggles with depression. So if I have one or two too many, the next day can be a major struggle. There's nothing fun when you have a hangover and then you can't recoup in time because you have anxiety, and then it blends into the next day or two after that, and it kind of just wrecks your whole week, which is not fun. So there was some movement there and push for me to want to see if I could be a little bit more emotionally stable, I guess you could say. I was a mess. I actually wasn't a mess. More context, I really wasn't drinking that much over the last year or two, which I'm going to get to this in a little bit. It's a calendar. I toned it back so much over the last 2 years because I could feel the changes in my body and wanted to see how mentally sharp I could get. I wanted to see if I could improve my sleep. All the things that everybody talks about that you see the benefits of. Not only that, I have always had really bad acne. I'm talking cystic acne. Minocycline, doxycycline, Accutane, you name it, I've been on it. I've tried everything. And the one thing that I didn't really dive into fully since I've been 21 is just not drinking. And I've heard and I know that that can improve your skin. So that was another reason why I wanted to try it. And then just reading and researching. I blame Andrew Huberman. His podcast that blew up about not drinking and what alcohol does to the body, I think has scared the living daylights out of everybody, me included.
As long as we're there, I'll just tell you that alcohol has a very strong effect in suppressing the neural networks that are involved in memory formation and storage. This is why oftentimes we forget the events of a night out.
It really was one of those confirmations of your brain health and your consciousness is so important, and alcohol just kills the brain. It closes and shuts down that prefrontal cortex. And that's scary to me because I'm someone who really values health and wellness, and I like to think I have a growth mindset. And that just kind of instilled some fear. I want to be really sharp when I'm 90 years old, assuming I reach 90. I don't know.
Oh, forever young, right.
So that alone, the research of everything that I've learned about between your brain and your neuroplasticity, and then what it does to the chemicals in your body because it's a depressant, and then it changes your cortisol levels, and then it affects your sleep and your REM cycle. It's just a spiral effect. That just scared the shit out of me. And then I get asked quite a bit, okay, well then how did you actually do it? How did you get through 90 days? And let me tell you how it actually all started. And it's right here. It's this good old calendar. This calendar is 6 months leading into the 3+ months of not drinking. It started in October of 2023. And keep in mind, even leading into October of 2023, I had, as I said, been cutting back quite a bit just in general. But by that point, I still felt like there were moments, there were days, and there were weeks where I would wake up thinking, I don't feel the best, and I feel like I can be way more productive, and I feel sad. Honestly, I felt more sad than I probably should have been. And then I had this idea of buying a calendar and writing down and tracking every single drink that I would have throughout the days and the weeks and the months. So if I drank, I would write in a red colored pencil how many drinks I had. And if I didn't drink, I would write in a green colored pencil a big 0. And you know what? it worked. And then here's the kicker. So then it was Reds opening day. I live in Cincinnati, Ohio. And it was such a fun day. I felt okay, but I didn't feel as great as I wanted to be. And in that moment, I don't know what it was. I just flipped a switch. And that's genuinely how I got started.
Dad always said if you ain't on the road, you're in a rut.
Not only that, though, I'm so thankful for the support of my friends and my family. I could not imagine being in the position where you're trying to stop drinking or you're trying to pull it back, or maybe you actually have a drinking problem and you don't have the support from the people around you. I'm a firm believer of you become the people who are around you and who you surround yourself with, and I am grateful for that.
Day 5 of 90 days. Support from the ladies. Let's go, Allie.
So what was the most challenging with my experience? I would have to admit it's probably the first couple days and first couple weeks. Like that first month was pretty challenging. There's no denying that as a society, we are pretty much socialized to go out and have a drink, and it's become second nature and it's become habit. So being so mindful was the challenge, because I would go out to a bar or a restaurant and I would just naturally want to order a drink. But what's funny is when you actually stop and think about it, why am I ordering that drink? Do I really need that drink? Do I need another? Whatever it might be. So that was part of the biggest challenge, was just breaking the habit and the cycle, because it's so ingrained into our culture that we don't even think twice. And it was being more intentional. And I really think it wasn't even while socializing one-on-one with people, it was socializing in larger groups. Because I always felt like when I was more one-on-one, those were typically the people that I was close to. So of course that they were going to be super supportive. But then when I would go into larger groups, I also felt like I had to explain myself as to why I wasn't drinking. And then when you tell someone that you're not drinking, they look at you like you have 16 heads.
What's wrong with you? Why you got the weird look all over your face?
So yeah, one of the biggest hurdles would have been the socialization into larger groups and then getting excited about socializing amongst larger groups. For example, I went to Railbird in Lexington with one of my best gal pals, and I was nervous as to how I was going to react. And by that time, I think I was like 60 something days in. So I did feel really solid in my own skin and being in that situation. But there was part of me that was nervous if I was going to be as excited about it. And then when I went, and we had a great weekend. I mean, it rained a lot, but it was still a super fun weekend. And in that moment, 60 something days in, I definitely proved to myself that yes, this is challenging, but it can still be just as satisfying, and that it doesn't control me. I will also say, when you're detoxing the alcohol from your system the first couple days and first couple weeks, man, I struggled and was always craving sweets, because think about it, there are sugars still in alcohol and it's a dopamine hit to your brain. So your brain is looking for something else to grab onto. So I was craving ice cream and sugar constantly the first couple of weeks. So you best believe that there was some private selection cookies and cream peanut butter style in that freezer for quite some time. And then I realized, I'm like, Allie, this is defeating the purpose. You are going to gain 1,000 pounds, which I think I started to, and then I stopped. So that was good.
Oh, thank the Lord.
So let's talk about the pros and the cons, shall we? No hangovers. That's number one. It was just nice knowing that Saturdays, Sundays, throughout the weekends, that I was waking up feeling refreshed and not having to challenge or push my body just to get to a spin class to try to correct itself and sweat everything out. I felt like I was actually making progress in the mornings and being productive, which I loved.
Passion, more energy, more energy.
Another thing was sleeping through the night and sleeping better, waking up having more energy. Now, I will admit there were plenty of times throughout the 90 plus days that I was really tired. And maybe that's because I'm a woman and where I was in my month, whatever it might be. There were definitely moments where I'm like, I still need to take a nap. Sometimes that would happen on a Sunday at 2 o'clock, but I guess that's also kind of normal too. I don't know. Either way, the sleep itself at night was better. Like, I think I just had better REM and I wasn't waking up as much, which then sums up the fact that my energy and my emotions were just more balanced. It wasn't high, low, high, low, high, low. Because when you're drinking, it's like your dopamine goes up and then you crash and then it goes up and then you crash and then woo. Yeah, didn't have that, which was nice. And the balance felt good because it was consistency. I felt more motivated. I felt more productive. But hear me out on this one, which I feel like I haven't heard people talk about in regards to it being a positive. Because I was feeling so balanced in a lot of these areas, whatever I was feeling, I had the ability, and I have the ability, I'm talking in past tense like I don't have it now. I have the ability to articulate that emotion in a much clearer manner. That has been probably the most interesting and exciting positive that I felt out of it, that I can pause, stop, slow down because I feel more balanced and say, whoa, what am I actually feeling right now? Because I'm not being affected by these outside sources that could potentially be bringing me down. I feel so much sharper in articulating my emotions and my feelings, which I love. That is my favorite positive of going through this 90-day experience. Another positive, less inflammation, and on top of that, you save a lot of money. You're not ka-ching, dropping $14 on a cocktail. Now you're getting free soda waters and limes.
I'm rich and I'm dead sexy.
And no matter what, I think putting your body through some sort of an isolation method, so if you think you're allergic to something, a food, a drink, whatever it might be, and not intaking that for X period of time is a good trial and error and a good way to test your body. The isolation method then leads me to the cons. But I think these cons have to do with me in particular. Number one being acne. I have struggled with acne my entire life. Gone through minocycline, doxycycline, Accutane, every possible topical cream you can think of. We have done it all. I eat very healthy. I drink a lot of water. I work out. I do all the things. I double cleanse. I do what I'm supposed to do. And I use a toner and everything. And I moisturize and I still was breaking out. So that was really frustrating. I've heard so many people say, oh my God, my skin has never looked better. And I'm over here like, it's 3 months in and I'm getting acne like I'm in the 10th grade. I'm 32 and I still get acne. Which, isolation method, if you're going to play devil's advocate, I probably have a hormonal imbalance, but we'll deal with that later. That's a discussion for another day.
To boils, acne, and blackheads.
And this is my big kicker of the cons, and as to why I'm conflicted. It really is the socialization piece. I don't think life is black and white. I believe in balance. But here's why I think consuming alcohol in moderation, here's the thing, that's the key word here, in moderation can be beneficial. Think about it this way. It's been a long week. It's a Friday. You are so stressed. Work has been really tough. The baby's been crying, whatever it might be. You come home and all you want to do is spend time with your partner or have a quick happy hour with your friend, have 1, 2 max. Again, I'm not saying throw back 12 cocktails and rip shots. But in those moments, when you are spending time, that is human connection. And when you take a sip of that alcohol, it is literally bringing down your cortisol levels and raising your oxytocin levels. And what does oxytocin do? Oxytocin is your love drug. That's what allows you to feel that connection with another human. That's the happy pill, right? That's when you feel really good inside. And that is where I do believe alcohol can be a positive, because I think we need human connection now more than ever.
I never thought I'd get you onto a dance floor, Charles.
There's a first time for everything.
You know, I think especially for the younger generations, those who may be struggling to socialize a little bit more, they're not going out as much. So if a cocktail or a beer allows you to loosen up a little bit, to go and talk to someone that's outside of your comfort zone, I think that says a lot, because that's building a skill set. And I also know my body. That's the other thing. Like, my body could be very different from your body. The way you experience alcohol could be different the way I experience alcohol. For me, it's an upper. I'm not a person where 1 or 2 drinks will make me sleepy. It gives me energy. No matter what, it really is about that self-discipline and creating that boundary for yourself, because if you can't then create that boundary for yourself and you can't moderate yourself in that capacity, then yeah, maybe cutting it out is the better route to go. And I am extremely empathetic of that. Because then I could also say, I'm over here justifying why we should potentially be, drinking alcohol because it raises our oxytocin levels. But what does that then mean about our society? Do we need to try to find other ways to get those oxytocin levels up? Maybe we just need to dance more. I don't know. I'm just saying. Now, what would I do differently? I think I would have wanted to track my metrics a little bit more while I was going through the 90 days. Like, I love the fact that I did this leading up to it, but if I would have had something like a Whoop, now this isn't me being like, go out, buy Whoop, because I don't even own a Whoop, but I know Whoop can track your sleep and track a lot of your health data, and I think that would have been a really cool way of going about this experience to get a better understanding of what's happening in my body. So if you were to go through this, I would recommend, hey, maybe looking into something like that. And then I also wonder, how long do I actually really need to go for? Is 90 days enough? I know 30 days isn't enough, and I really felt like 60 days wasn't enough either, but 90 days? So overarching thoughts, final thoughts. Number one, selfishly, I'm proud of myself. I really didn't want to break this promise to myself, and I wanted to be able to have the self-discipline to go all the way. Did I think I was going to make it? There were moments that I thought I was going to crack, but we got through, and it is genuinely the power of your own consciousness. You are taking back control. You are being intentional with your actions, and you're able to set boundaries where maybe you felt like you weren't able to set boundaries before. That has been just the overarching success. Like, it's changing that habit. It's feeling that you have control again, that it doesn't control you, you control it. Because the moral of the story is alcohol affects the body in so many different ways. And yeah, I might have pointed out one or two cons, but in general, pulling back on alcohol or eliminating alcohol will always be a greater positive than a negative. Time is the only thing that we all have in common. And do you want to be able to maximize your time? Do you want to be able to reach the potential that you think you can reach? I know I do. I know that was a huge reason why I wanted to go through this, because you don't know how your body is going to react unless you try it. And it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. Now, will I drink again? Probably. Honestly, probably. Not sure when that time will come. But the difference going through this experience is, number one, I know that I don't have to. It is truly a consciousness thing, and that I do have the control. And that, you know what? I'm still loved and supported no matter what, and I feel really good about myself when I have that control and when I put those boundaries in place, because this whole experience has allowed me to gain the clarity of how I want to feel and more of what I want out of life. I don't want to live life with regrets. I don't want to live life forgetting things. But I also don't want to live life not experiencing it either. I love bourbon and I love whiskey. I love going on distillery tours. I love to travel and taste really good wines that are paired with incredible cheeses. And those are the moments that I don't want to miss out on. So if you are someone who is questioning the relationship with alcohol, maybe wanting to pull back, whatever it might be, do it. Just try it. Even if start with 30 days, but if you can hit 90, great. Go beyond that. Hell, use this calendar. Truthfully, this little hack, it really helped me, and it worked because it kept me accountable. You might not like the answers, but also don't lie. You can't lie about it. So you have to be truthful about how many drinks you're having throughout the days and the weeks. You know what? I'll link this calendar below in the description. It's like a cheap Amazon calendar, so who knows if that can help somebody get started and challenge themselves in a different way. I think that's a win. So if you are embarking on this journey, feel free to throw any questions or comments below. Would love to keep this dialogue going. And since this is my very first YouTube video, I would be forever grateful if you hit that subscribe button and follow along. There's a lot more to come in the future, so let's keep it going. And with that, I'll see you in the next video.